Now that you basically have had almost, I guess a week now to kind of digest it, how would you kind of assess how you competed that weekend?
I thought it was a little bit tight, honestly. Like my first match, I just remember I almost puked. I was so nervous. I'm like a lot of I don't know. I think I let the moment get to me a little too much, and then once my second match started, like I felt like there was a big scramble. I'm like, all right, I'm good. And then I was still a little tight against in the semis, and I was a little tight. I feel like I should have opened up a little bit more, but I got it done. So
is that just like, redshirt freshman conference tournament sort of thing? I mean, I know a lot of you younger guys don't. I mean, pressure's not really a thing, but at the same time, that's probably like the biggest college tournament you wrestled in so far. Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely the biggest college tournament I wrestled in, and I just let it kind of overtake me a little bit, but I don't know. Once I tried to like get myself in the scrap, and then I was good, and I'm like then it just becomes all natural again.
How much does that experience help you going into St. Louis next weekend? I mean, it seems like that's like, oh, okay, I can do this, right?
Yeah, I don't know, it's a good learning lesson. Just learn from it and then adapt. Like in St. Louis, I know I got to go out there and let it fly. Like it'll probably be the same amount of people. I don't know. Like there's not a lot of fans there, but like I've been to St. Louis too, so it's familiar, and I think I'll be much more prepared mentally.
What have you kind of learned about yourself this season, just through wrestling and getting into the lineup and kind of, seizing on that opportunity as the season unfolded? What's something that you've maybe learned about your wrestling and D1 wrestling as a whole?
That you got to be ready for every match. Like no one, like you, like, I don't know. I think there was one documentary, I think it might've been Burroughs, but Burroughs was talking about how in the world, like you're not going to lose to someone in, I don't know, some other country, but he's talking about how the NCAA is harder than it, like anyone can beat you on any given day. So that's kind of what I would like kind of realized this past weekend, honestly. Like first match, I'm like, oh, there's a chance I could lose. And like, you got to be ready for every single match. Hopefully you guys heard me. That's what I kind of learned.
Parker, oops, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jim. Parker, this is Lance Allen from WTMJ back in your hometown, and I like the fact that these guys are giving you a little bit of grief. I was going to be throwing you the softball questions, but I like that the normal beat writers are bringing the heat. But Nicollet, for those that don't know, is not like known as a wrestling school. Like I've been in Milwaukee for 25 years, and it's one of those situations where it's known for soccer and tennis and certain things. What made you a good wrestler? What got you into wrestling?
What got me? I don't know. I think, well, I had this like one. So my buddy, like my first dude that ever got me into wrestling, like we played soccer together. It was Wade Lamont, and he wrestled for Iowa at some point. I don't think he wrestled for that long. I think he wrestled a year. And then, so he moved to Milwaukee. Him and my buddy Luke, we got into wrestling. And then, like, I wasn't too serious then, but then like Glen Hills Summer Academy, they had wrestling. They had like a wrestling class, and I took it almost every year. And then we started getting into club, and the Askren Wrestling Academy helped me a lot. So that's about it. And Max helped me develop a passion for the sport, which I love wrestling right now. So, and I have for a while, and I think I'm going to keep loving
it. I also know you were captain of the football team. You'll be happy to know that they made the playoffs this year. So it seems like Nicollet Sports are on the rise. Does that make you feel good that you kind of set the tone, set the pattern for them to be better in football and wrestling?
Yeah, it does make me feel good. I think we they won. Well, we won friggin' like 2 games my whole time there, and then they won. I think they won 3 this year, 3-4. So like we're keep getting better. And then Braden Ott, he took 3rd at state this year in wrestling. So, and I think we were in contention for the regional title. So keep building off it, and hopefully Nicollet will be a powerhouse soon.
I don't follow recruiting at all because I'm a bad person, but how did you find your way to UNI, and when how did that happen, and why'd you end up there?
I found my way to UNI by, I don't know, Lee Roper. He texted me first day he could, and I just went to Fargo, and I think I went 1 and 2, and he was like, I see something in you, and I was like, all right, that's sweet. And then we talked. He kept getting to know me, and I just felt like they really cared the most. That's no like a shot at the other teams. Air Force and Wisconsin are pretty much the only ones that recruited me, but I don't know. I felt not a sense of kind of a sense of loyalty, but I don't know. I'm like thinking, but like I honestly like. So if he saw something, if the coaches saw something in me from like when I didn't break out, wasn't really on anyone's radar. Like I feel like they had a plan for me to like go to the top, if that makes sense. Like they knew something, and then I don't know. I just kept talking to them. I liked the campus. I thought they were genuine guys, so I thought I would want to wrestle for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fairly common, or not common maybe, but it's not an uncommon theme with guys like Foster and, coming up at 84 behind you. How does it feel to follow in his and Lujan's footsteps at 84 to try to keep UNI 184-pound you?
Feels good. I hope I can keep doing it. Like I get to wrestle them every day in practice. I don't know. We got great upper weight. So Keegan, me, Foster, Lance. Like I have a great system around me, and it's just, I wouldn't say it's the expectation, but it's like, shoot, I want to keep it at the top. And like you also like when you put that single on, like I'm competing for Taylor, I'm competing for Drew, I'm competing for my teammates around me and like the freaking community around me. So just gives me that extra motivation.
So I like scrapping with those guys in the room. Drew and Lujan specifically.
Humbling. David, I wrestled with Drew yesterday, and I was like, if you don't have your head down, you're gonna get messed up. And I learned that for the first 30 minutes. I was like, wow. And then I kept getting my head down, and it went much better. But it's fun to scrap them. I loved it. Me and Taylor getting some good scrambles.
I was going to say, you coming from the Askren Academy and him and his wacky hips, I imagine there's some pretzel tangles probably going on in a scrap like that, right?
Yeah, it's good fun. Me and Taylor scrapping today, so I'm excited.
Hey, Parker, talking to Coach Schwab, everybody asks, how are you going to handle being the number 1 seed? How are you going to be handling a top 5 seed? And he said, what's there to handle? That was the plan all along. You plan on being the number 1 seed at the Big 12. You plan on being a top seed at the NCAA tournament. What goes into making that kind of, I don't want to say lofty goals, but what goes into that mindset?
I just think you can't think about it. Like that's what I kind of believe. I gotta believe like you can break every match down, even into smaller chunks. Like you don't break it down into like you can break it down in the matches periods. I kind of like to break it down into seconds, or like not seconds, but more like positions. Like try to win that next position. Try to create an opportunity. And kind of going back on this past weekend, I feel like I kind of shied away from that mindset, which kind of, I don't know, that's why I felt tight, someone asked. And then, so I kind of just break it down, try to win that next position. Say you lose a position, now you're on bottom, now you got to get away, or then you got to just go out there and try to score points after that. And positions.
Is that a lesson from Doug or from Askren or both, or where's that mindset come from?
I'd definitely say both. Max definitely instilled that in me at first, and maybe, yeah, he instilled it into me. And then I think Doug just putting a more emphasis on it. Like Max wouldn't be like screaming it all the time in like scraps, but he would like say it after, and Doug in the scraps, he's like, win the next position, win the next position. I'm like, all right, that's not what I'm thinking. So it comes from both. Gotta give them both credit.
Parker, I've known Ben and Max for a long time. Can you talk the game like they can? Because I know Ben is like elite level trash talk.
No, I don't talk like Ben. Some of the things Ben says is way too much for me. I'm very laid back.
I don't know. Runyon's Twitter account has some interesting things that you say throughout the year.
Hey, that was only, yeah, that is true. Hey, -0 got debunked. That's all I gotta say. It's a thing. I'm telling you, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Hey, no disagreements on my end.
Other thing
Apple
is,
says it's a thing. Hey, it's a thing.
other thing, Parker, is your style is described as all gas, and obviously in this state, you know, Packers rule Wisconsin, and we got a head football coach that talks about all gas, no break. Is that kind of your motto? Do you feel a kinship with his philosophy, his style as well?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely my motto. Go Packers.
And the Flannery say hi. What is it like to have people? I mean, you know, obviously Wisconsin people back here had mentioned to me about, hey, you got to do a story on Parker, and hey, you got to follow his career, and only losing once in 2 years. What does that make you feel like to have support like that back here?
It makes me feel great. It's kind of makes me feel great. It makes me like think in the back of my mind, like say I am tired, and say like, oh, I got that support system behind me. And I think that's kind of the not Panther train way, maybe like we kind of, when you, like I said earlier, like when you put that single on, you're representing the community, you're representing much more than just yourself. So I know it kind of gives me a sense of well-being when I know those type of people are behind me.
And what are your ultimate goals?
Win 5 NCAA titles. Go big or go home.
When did you join Askren Academy, and when did that? I mean, we make a big deal about, you know, the club wrestling now. It seems like that's really picked up steam in recent years. But those guys being around minds like that, and a handful of other wrestlers that have gone on to, you know, like was Keegan O'Toole an Askren guy too?
Yeah, he was. Yes, he was.
Yeah,
he was mostly Heartland guy, but
I gotcha. But just like, you know, being surrounded, I mean, you mentioned Max multiple times, just being in that room with those wrestling minds, like what did that do for, you know, for your career at that point?
So I started in probably 8th grade, and then I really didn't get serious till I think after I placed at state my freshman year. And then Max was like, dude, you can do something big. And I was like, oh, should I play baseball or should I go wrestle? And he was like, dude, he like sat me down. He's like, you can do the sky's limit, right? And I don't know, he just helped me develop a passion and love for the sport, like going in every day I was probably in every day, but going in and like just learning new positions and kind of making wrestling my own. It's not, I don't know. It's not so like I do like structure, but it's not this. It's more like build your own wrestling. That's kind of like how he developed my passion, and it's all it's my style now. So
Well, that kind of models after their mindset, right? Because they both, and especially Ben, really kind of had their own little wrestling styles throughout their careers.
Oh yeah, they're definitely innovators of the sport.
Parker, did you do anything with Arrowhead? Obviously, because they had the Askrens, O'Toole. I think Messenbrink is a little bit younger than you, but you know they've had such a rich heritage out there. Is that how you honed your skills when you were at Nicollet? Is kind of to work with, you know, whether it was Arrowhead or just Askren, or how did that work?
Oh. Like, what do you mean? Like hone your skills? Like what I like learn my technique from?
Yeah. Maybe just like, did you look up to programs like that in the area, or just, you know, how did you go about it to get to the level that you're at?
I would say definitely just trying to spend as much time in position. I wouldn't say I looked up to Arrowhead or I definitely looked up to Max and Ben on like what they're trying to teach. And then Gus and them, they're very, I don't know, they weren't very technical, but they were very, I don't know, they were very like drill it. So I got a lot of reps and it was like kind of a good mix of the two. So at club, I had that creativity. And then at high school practice, I had that hone in and kind of perfect, get the most reps I possibly could. It's kind of, so like I didn't look up to Arrow, but I definitely looked up to Ben and Max.